The day is October 1st, 2003, a chilly morning in Springfield, Missouri. Two best friends begin their day as normal and decide to go on a hike around their favorite local trails until tragedy struck. Our first interviewee wishes to be unnamed for the interview.
According to the reports, you were first to the scene, correct?
Yes, that is true. I was just doing my everyday runs around the trail, and that day I decided to go a different turn than normal. About 50 feet in, I noticed two guys on the ground unconscious, so I go check their pulse, and I realize they're gone. I called 911, but once I got there, I had to leave for an important meeting.
Do you have any ideas of who could have done it?
No, not really, but whoever did needs to be caught for their monstrous acts.
It's been 15 years since the murders took place, and the culprit is still on the run. However, the case has been reopened due to similarities with this recent homicide case, and the details are being reviewed.
Yeah, I remember that day. It was the day my wife left me and my dog got kidnapped by the local crackhead. Oh, you mean the murders. That day was just like any other day until I got a call from dispatch saying there'd been a double homicide at the local trail. I turned my siren on and went out to check, but when I got there, I noticed a guy just standing there. He looked worried and thrilled at the same time. It was a little weird. I went up to him and asked him if he was the one who'd called in, and he said yes, but after he pointed me to the scene, he left before I could ask him any more questions. Luckily, though, we were able to get in contact with the guy a couple months later when we looked at our call records.
So do you have any idea of who or what did it, like right off the bat, or?
I mean, yeah, at first I thought maybe a bear or something had gotten to them because it was so early in the morning, but upon further investigation, I noticed some holes in the back of the fellas. So I immediately called in dispatch and told them we would need an ambulance and a ballistics team so we could find the monster who did this.
So I understand that you are Bill's sister and the last person to have contact with him before the crime?
Yes, that's correct.
So could you perhaps maybe shed some light on what they were doing out there on that cold morning?
Well, Bill and Monty loved that trail. They said that it was the only thing in their lives that could help them escape their stresses.
So what kind of things stressed the guys out then?
I really have no clue. Like, those guys' lives are really perfect. They almost had everything. Bill had his motorcycle, Monty had his scooter. Their house had 2 bathrooms and really good Wi-Fi. I'm not really sure what could have stressed them out. Their jobs at the tech firm kept them happy and their pockets were lined. And maybe it was the business trips that made them not so happy, but I'm not sure because they were perfect for each other.
Wait, perfect for each other? Wait, you mean they're dating?
Yeah, Bill actually proposed a month before the incident. They seemed happy, but I do recall them having a friend that was kind of jealous of Bill. I'm not really sure. But once I overheard them talking and saying that Bill didn't deserve Monty and that he could be a better fit for Monty.
Can you tell me who his friend was a little more, or?
Well, I didn't really know him, but I think his name was Max.
So did this Max person happen to live in the area?
Yeah, he lived about 5 minutes away from them. They would often get together and walk on the trail that they were found on.
So do you know if Max was with them that morning when it happened?
I'm not sure. All I know is that Bill and Monty had a falling out with a close friend recently, who I can only assume is this Max, but I'm not sure if they invited him or not.
So could you tell me more about the men and why they were in Springfield? And perhaps if you know anything about the relationship to each other, considering, you lived in the town with them.
Well, I only saw them once in a while. They didn't actually live in Springfield.
Oh, they didn't?
Well, they bought a house down here and rented it out as an Airbnb, and they often visit for fishing and camping trips. They're both avid hikers too.
So it wasn't really a surprise that they were found on the trail then, is it?
No, not at all.
Okay. So I talked to Bill's sister, And she said that they were engaged, the two men were. Did you know about this?
Well, I can't vouch for everyone, but I can speak for most when I say no, we didn't.
So they didn't live here, nor did anyone know they're engaged.
Nope.
So, any other information for me?
Well, I ran their plates because I found it odd that someone from New York and Kansas would be here, and I found that they were both married to other people. I told my ex-wife because I found it a bit odd, and she Facebook stalked them and found that they were both well-known men in their hometowns. Bill was a firefighter and an all-around family man, and Monty was a semi-famous chef at the local hotel.
So, you were married to Bill Martin, correct?
Yeah, I was.
How long were you two married for?
11 years.
Were you aware that your husband was having an affair with a chef from New York?
No, I wasn't. I didn't find out until after he was murdered.
No suspicions? Was there any times that you maybe wondered if he was going on doing something, or?
I mean, no, not really. We would leave town a bit so he could tour different places in America, but I never really paid much attention to what he was doing.
So, when he went missing, did you get notified and worry at all? What was your process with dealing with this?
I was worried, but in reality, I was seeing someone else at the moment.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So you're Monty's wife, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Did you ever question Monty's visits to Misery at all, or?
Well, sometimes I would. Sometimes it felt like he was gone for weeks on end. He was renting an Airbnb out down there, and he would have to go down and take care of the place while the man who he had hired to do it was out. The money was going to go to our kids' college fund, and it was really strange. He never let me or the kids go down there.
So you were not aware that your husband was having an affair?
What?
Take your time.
I'm so sorry about that. I didn't know. I never thought that he was the sort of person to do that to me.
So when Monty went missing, how did you react to it?
Like any other person would. I called everyone I knew, and I asked if they knew anything about where he was, because he hadn't responded. Sorry, he hadn't responded to me in a couple of days, and I knew I needed to file that missing person. I needed to file that missing persons report, and then I checked the news in Springfield because I knew that's where he was. And then it's really, I'm sorry, I saw that he was murdered, and I broke down. I had to send my kids to go with my parents for 2 weeks, and I don't think I left my bedroom in that entire time. I was devastated, and then I was furious that they never contacted me, and so I drove down there and chewed them out, and I wanted to do some investigating of my own.
So did you find anything out there, or?
Not really. I found out he was seen with somebody who would use the Airbnb, and was in contact with him. His name was Maxwell. That's really all I know.
Do you know the full name at all, or?
Maxwell. Oh, God. Maxwell Button? Maxwell Button?
That's all I need. Thank you. So, what do you know about Maxwell Button?
Oh, old Max, he's harmless. He's a little interesting, but I think he was actually friends with the guys.
So, can you give me some information on him, on like where he lives, so I can message him? I think he may be a missing piece to our case.
Oh, I guess I could do that.
Hey, it's Jesse Mail. I have a couple questions for you.
Give me 1 second, I'll be right there. Hey, how are you guys doing?
So, are you Maxwell Button?
Yep, that's me.
Were you also the first person on the scene of the crime?
Yep, I was.
Did you kill Bill and Monty?
Yes.
Why?
Because I was jealous of Monty, and I thought that Bill should be mine. One day I decided that on one of our daily runs, I would convince him to take a trail different than normal. There, I confessed my feelings, and obviously, Bill rejected me, so I ended Monty's life. Bill was horrified, and in all the panic, I killed Bill too. I couldn't just leave him there, so I called 911, but as soon as I pointed the cop in the right direction, I fled the scene.
How come you're telling us now? I mean, this is a confession on camera, you know, right? I mean, it's admissible in court.
Because I can't live with the pain anymore. I feel like I've walked free for too long.
I mean, okay, so if you're telling us now, why didn't you turn yourself in earlier?
Because I obviously didn't want to go to jail, and I felt like I could push it out of my mind, but now that you brought the event back up, I can't go through the pain of my errors again.
Okay, well, let's take you to your station then.
Come in. Hey, Max.
Hey,
What are you guys doing here? Did you guys find the murderer?
Well, actually, we did.
You did? Who was it?
well, me.
What? Why?
I just couldn't handle the pain and stress of not having Bill to myself, and when I got engaged, I just lost it.
I see. Well, it was nice knowing you.
Time for jail.
Who knew a documentary 15 years later would lead to the finding of mass murderer Maxwell Button, who upon further investigation has murdered 18 other people in similar crimes in the area. Maxwell unfortunately is on the run as police neglected to lock his cell and he managed to escape. Thanks for watching. This has been Jesse Mayo.